Our guest today is aesthetic nurse practitioner that is located in the New York City area. Please help me to introduce family nurse practitioner, Ana.
Hi guys, my name is Ana Builes. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and my location is in Astoria, Queens. I've been a nurse for 12 years now. In the last 3 years, I've been a nurse practitioner.
How are you today? I'm so glad you were able to come down to Miami, I know.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I went to see Lamar Weinberg for training, and everything just like was in sync. You shot me out on Instagram, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Miami. Let's do it.
Yes. I love Lamar too. She's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. She's a great trainer.
Great. So I always like to dive in with my guests right now, especially in the way the world is right now. How has everything been for you?
For
just in general, how has everything been since COVID-19, since just everything that's going on?
Oh, it's been, so I just feel like, New York, it's been a whirlwind with COVID. I was working in one of the COVID floors. They transfer us. And I feel like now it's starting to become normal again, but it's been pretty intense. It's been pretty intense. But I have to tell you, aesthetics has actually blown up with COVID.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy.
It actually has, and I think it's because people have more time, working from home, looking at themselves. They could recover. They don't have to be in public. So they're like, okay, it's time for me time, my self-care time. So yeah.
No, I totally agree. Like I hop on Zoom with clients during the day and they're like, I'm recovering from this procedure, I'm recovering from this, I'm not gonna show myself, but I'm here. So I can definitely understand that, where you're coming from.
Right.
It's super. So let's go back to the beginning. How did you get started in the aesthetic industry?
How do I get started? So first, I've always been into skincare. So once I became a nurse practitioner, I started to think about what can I do as a nurse practitioner? I just don't want to just work in the hospital. I just didn't find my niche yet. So I decided to become a member at Empire Medical Training. Have you heard of them? They're based in Florida.
Yes.
So I did. I joined and I took classes with them, and I fell in love, and I just kept taking classes with them. And then I have an injector friend, and I asked her, hey, can you be my mentor? Can I shadow you for a couple of months to see if I really love what I went for? And she was like, sure. So I shadow her, and she's been my mentor ever since. And ever since, that's how I started, and here I am today.
Nice. And I always like to ask how you got started in the industry, because I think it's so unique the ways people get into this industry. Mm-hmm. Some people just randomly get into it and they're like, oh, I'm really good at it now. I never knew. Mm-hmm. And some people really enjoy and are very passionate about it from the beginning. Mm-hmm. What is your biggest, your achievement or biggest thing that you enjoy about this industry?
The biggest thing that I enjoy about the industry is that I love to make people smile. I do. It gives me this joy when someone comes in and they didn't like the way their lips felt, or they just have all these insecurities. And aesthetics used to be such a big stigma, and then now it's starting to be out in the open. It's okay to age gracefully. It's okay to fix certain things. Doesn't mean you're still beautiful. You just want to tweak it a little bit, right? So I think that's my biggest joy in this field, that when I do something and someone want to cry because they're like, you did this, yeah, it looks beautiful. Yeah. And they're just so happy.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's super amazing, because you're fixing confidence with the little things that you do to enhance them.
Exactly, yeah. I love doing that.
Yes, for sure, for sure. When you started your journey, really, I want to take it back before you even got into when you were RN. Well, even before that, I guess. What made you want to do nurse practitioning, be a nurse practitioner versus a physician assistant? Because I know they have similar practicing rules, things like that. What kind of made you go down that path?
So when I became a nurse, a registered nurse, and I love physician assistants, you know. Now they're considered physician associates.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I have physician associates friends too. When I became a nurse, I loved the bedside care, and I got to meet patients at a different level. But I wanted to have more autonomy. And I always knew that I wanted more autonomy. And that's when I decided, I'm going to go back to school to become a nurse practitioner. Because I already have the base as a registered nurse, and I loved the nursing career and the community of nursing. I just love what we do, and we just have great bedside care, and that is what I want to take it to as a provider now with more autonomy. So I think that's the biggest difference, I believe. But other than that, physician associates are amazing. They're great. But I think I just wanted to stick to the NP route.
Nice. Can NPs practice? I know in New York, can they practice by themselves?
Yes, they can. As long as you have a collaborating physician, you have to have a written collaborative physician. After 3,600 hours of practicing NP, you have a verbal collaborating physician. So every state is different. So it's like you have to really dig into to the laws of your state. Yeah. So unfortunately, we're still like in that gray area.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Now I know you have your own med spa, which is super exciting. You know, I speak to so many providers, and that's where they hope to get after they've been practicing. How hard was that process? And tell us a little bit how you started that.
It's pretty hard, but it's doable.
For sure.
So it is definitely doable. Just don't give up. So I started working at a medical spa in Manhattan. So I was working there, and then at the same time I was doing mobile services and seeing clients at homes. I started out with friends, family, coworkers, and it was basically word of mouth and build my clientele. And once I had that steady clientele that I have, I started to look at the geographic, like where am I going to settle, like where is the most my client based. And so that's where I picked Astoria, Queens, because a lot of my clients are from Queens. And then there are some from New Jersey, and I just wanted to make it easier and feasible for everybody for the location. You also want to figure out when you get a spa, you don't want to get a spa when you have Dr. Amazing across the street. You just want to make sure that it makes sense where your location is. And it's just a lot of work, marketing, networking. Word of mouth is huge. It's the power of word of mouth is big. Yeah.
Would you say most of your clients come from marketing, like social media, or do you say most of your clients would come from actually people telling each other?
I think it's a combination of both, because people would talk about it and they would go to my social media. So it's like, hey, I know this person, this great injector, check her on IG, and they go to the IG and they see everything, and then they start messaging me. So I think it's all a combination. It's not just like two different things. It all comes together. So yeah, social media has to be a big part in aesthetics.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you were picking the area of Queens, tell us a little bit about the area for the viewers that might not know that area. What type of area is that?
I think it's, well, I'm still new to Astoria. I have friends who live in Astoria. It's very cute. It's very family friendly. It's not like the big city life. It's a lot of cute bars and restaurants, brunches. It's very homey, and that's what I like about it, for sure.
Yeah, I love that area. I actually go up there very often from New York. So
you are from where?
I'm from upstate, but I go to the city often, and even now I go up to the city as often as I can. And I love Queens.
You've been to Astoria?
Yeah.
So it's like right off on Steinway. So it's like in Ditmars. It's not far. It's not far from the train station. Yeah. So it's a great location.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what type of services do you offer at your med spa?
So we offer different injectables. We do lips, which is my favorite. We do tear troughs, cheek augmentation, mid-face, jawline contouring, chin, temples. We also do neurotoxins, Xeomin, Dysport, Botox, PRP facials, and we also do aqua gold. Everything else that is more like facial aesthetic, we have an esthetician that we work with, and he works next door to us, and he does everything else he does dermaplaning, he does chemical peels, he does facials, hydrofacials, IPL, you name it.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, so we work together, so.
That's a list of services, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. Because I know skincare and injectables go hand in hand.
Exactly, yeah.
So they like bounce off each other.
Exactly, yeah, so.
Now we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, and you actually told me that estheticians need a medical director.
Yeah, well, it depends if they're doing just facials, they don't really need one, but if they want to go beyond and explore and do lasers and do more medical grade products, medical grade chemical peels, then yeah, you definitely need a medical director for sure.
Nice. Okay.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let's talk about fat burning machines, because I know that's interesting. Like the M-Sculpt and the Cool Sculpting and those type of machines.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about kind of your opinion as a provider.
Sculpt, with Cool Sculpting?
Yeah, with Cool Sculpting, I know it's been in the news so much, especially with the model that.
Right. It has bad press right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, they all work to a certain extent. I just think that it's you have to have patience, and I don't know if some clients want that. You know, you have to do a couple of sessions. Cool Sculpting, unfortunately, does have a bad reputation. It has bad reviews right now, so I don't know if it's a good idea to purchase one right now. But M-Sculpt is out in the market, and people are actually doing pretty well with M-Sculpt. But they're all do its purpose. It's just, I just think that you need to like really address the patient that it's not going to be a one session done deal. Going to be a couple of sessions, and usually it's not really to burn your entire fat. It's just to like take off, you know, tweak some little, you know, stubborn areas that we want to call. Not, you know, if you need to lose weight, then you know. So I mean, I think all the machines are great. It's just unfortunately, Cool Sculpting has a bad market right now. Definitely,
no. I hear about it too. Like they said like 1% a reverse reaction happens, but some people has good results, and I see some on Instagram. Some people are like, no, I have no results. So it's all out.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's with everything. With everything, you know, you have good results and you have bad results. You got to try it out to see if it works for you. Same thing goes with like, you know, Botox. You know, some Botox works great for some people, others don't. They have to use a different kind of neurotoxin. You know, everybody's different. You have to see everyone as a unique individual. Yeah.
Does that go the same with like facial balancing or even injecting overall?
100%.
With different cultures and.
Yes, absolutely. You need to have the artistic eye. You know, how this person's being injected does not mean that this other person's going to be injecting the exact same way. You have to like consider their face, their age, their culture. Like everything has to come into play. You know, you can't. You know, just because someone comes into the office and tells you, you know, I want this from this picture, you have to also take consideration, is it going to look good on her? You know, like, you got to be realistic. So it's, you know, definitely everybody has to be unique. It's not like it's not a cookie cutter business, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What celebrity do you get in your office the most that they want to look like?
Oh, of course. The Kardashians. Still.
Long reign.
Still, because I have a lot of young girls, you know, with the lips. Yeah, they keep talking about it, yeah.
For new providers entering the industry, what advice would you give them?
I would give them to have a lot of patience. It's a very difficult field. I mean, it's very rewarding. It's fun, it's exciting, but at the same time, you need to have patience because it's hard in the beginning. You know, like I had a lot of doors that closed on me. Like a lot of people didn't hire me in the beginning. You just got to keep on trying, keep on networking, get a mentor. Mentors are the best. Shadowing, and then just you gotta have that driven attitude. You gotta, if you love it, it's like that saying, go big or go home. You know, if you love it, go all the way because it's worth it at the end.
Nice, and I agree. Perseverance and resilience is really what gets you to the goal.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't give up. Just keep on going.
Now I know, you know, like you just said, doors were slammed in your face to me, and it was really hard getting into this industry. What mindfulness techniques or what helped you through that process to keep going and stay resilient?
Well, I had a goal, and I fell in love with it, and I love. Every time I did someone's lips, or every time I did someone's Botox, and they were just so happy about it. That was my drive, and I'm like, I really want to do this, and it's me not giving up. It's me being, perseverance, resilient, and persistent. I don't know, like I was just trying to stay positive, and I'm like, it's gonna happen one day. It's gonna happen, and it did.
Yes, no, and it happens, and you can move from where you are, like working for somebody, to opening your own spa. But first, it takes that entering point of.
It takes that entering point.
Doing whatever you have to get into where you want to be.
Exactly, and it wasn't easy.
Tell us a little bit about some of the hurdles that you faced in the beginning.
And the hurdles, some of the hurdles were, people were just saying no, not interested, not hiring. What else? When I started working at the spa, people didn't want me to inject them. They wanted more the other injector because she had more years of experience, and she built her brand, she built her name. Because that's another thing too in aesthetics, you got to build your brand, you got to build your name. So it's like, it doesn't matter how many years you've been injecting, but it's also like a personable thing. This is why social media comes into play. I think people, you could be a great injector, but if they don't know who you are, they're like, I don't know. I don't know if you're a great injector or not. But I was facing those hurdles, and I had to prove myself to a lot of the clients in that spa, and those were the little hurdles that I was getting, trying to build my name, and I'm still building my brand. So I think those are the things that I think a lot of new injectors are going to go through in the beginning.
Yeah, great advice. Now I know branding is important, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it's like one of the centers, especially in this industry.
Yes.
Being a private pay industry, people choose where they want to go because they feel comfortable.
Right.
Tell me about some things that you've done to kind of highlight your brand and build your brand over the span of your career.
So my branding, Instagram, social media, okay? I work with a really good marketing team. And I follow advice, and and I also believe that people just don't just fall in love with your work, but they also fall in love with the person too. So if you are a great personal person and you're easy to reach to, easy to talk to, then they want to come back to you, right? I like to educate my clients, my patients. I like to educate them. I'm always available for them, if they have any questions, I'm talking to them, I'm easing them, because it's nerve-wracking when they get a procedure done. And they love that, and at the same time, they love the fact that I'm very personable on social media. Like I'm doing reels, I'm trying to do stories. I like to be funny. I'm a very funny person, so I do a lot of funny reels, and people see that aspect of me. So it's like when they come to the office, it's like they kind of know me a little bit. They're like, oh my God, it's Ana, And at the same time, with the marketing, they just, when they go to my social media, they could see my work too.
And that's a good point. It's like a highlight of what your skill level is. Right. Someone once told me, it's not about the years of experience, but actually how much you're injecting in that time span that really makes you more, I guess, great at your work or great at what you do.
Right. I mean, practice is key to success. The
Yeah.
more you do, the better you'll get at it. Doesn't matter how many years you've been a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a nurse or PA. You know, like you have to keep practicing, and you have to keep going to conferences and trainings and webinars as much as you can. It just, medical is evolving, so that's with every field.
No, it really is. This industry is so new and it has so much room to grow. I can only imagine the next 10 years, and I'm excited to see the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because the position of a provider right now is amazing, but it's going to expand even more, I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's growing every year, so it's like you want to keep yourself, you know, in the loop. Like, you know, it's not a one, I tell, like, I have a lot of new injectors who reach out to me on Instagram, and I tell them it's not a one-shot Botox class and that's it. You got to do your homework, because unfortunately, when we went to school, we didn't learn aesthetics. We learned other stuff, you know, like the anatomy. We've learned, you know, diseases, how to, you know, treat them, but nothing aesthetics. So that's something that you know, you want to get involved in, and, you know, you have to do your homework, and you have to study, you have to do your job.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Amazing. When you're, so I know you mentioned continuous education before. Is there any continuous education or conferences that you could recommend that would be great for the audience?
So yeah, so a great conference is Aesthetics Next. That's a great conference. There's a lot of continuing education. There is Empire Medical Training does a lot of continuing education, a lot of courses. I definitely recommend to train with there's a lot of master injectors out in the country that does private teaching, small group teachings. I just did Limor Weinberg recently, Beauty Bay, and she's amazing. She's a great instructor. I've also been trained by Moksha Aesthetic University, which is Injector Honey, Injector Bunny. They're also amazing. It doesn't hurt to like be part of like a Patreon app, which is I'm part of the Patreon app with Injector Bunny, and so I'm constantly looking at her videos. Like if I have any questions, I'll go to her videos and I'm like, okay, let me see what the video is about, because it's always good to have refreshers. And it's always constantly like learning, constantly doing webinars, wherever you can think. It's always good to like, you know, keep learning and go out of the country. I mean, UK is amazing too.
Have you been?
I haven't, but I want to. I mean, COVID, but you know.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yo, they're next level. Like,
yes, they are.
I watch people like Dr. Naomi. Are you familiar with her?
Yes.
And her technique is just the stuff that they're doing, placing filler all over the body. And
I know.
Just interesting things like that is amazing. Do you place filler in different areas of the body too, or is that?
Not yet, but I will be soon doing non-surgical BBLs.
Oh, nice. Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, we want to dive into her social media and take a look at some of her pictures and get a little bit more context on them. So let's do it. Let's talk about the one with the teardrops and you injecting that. Tell us a little bit more about context on that picture.
More of the context of the picture?
More like context behind it, like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, what I was doing, you know, the client complained about teardrops, hollowness, and you always want to tell the client that it's never going to be 100%. You know, it's always going to be 30 to 50% improvement. We don't know where the patient's going to fall into. So I did the cannula aspect, and I recorded. I have a little instrument there, and I was just recording, and I just started, doing the teardrops. I used Bellatero. Bellatero is very soft for the eyes. But yeah, it was fun to do it. Nice.
Now, to my understanding, it's an off-label procedure. Why do they call that off-label, and how difficult is a procedure like that?
It's off-label because it's difficult. There's a lot of arteries around the area, and there's like no bone where you're putting the filler in, so you have to be careful where you place the filler at. You could cause blindness. There's a lot of things that can happen because the infraorbital frame is around there, so you just want to be careful.
How often can you get a type of procedure like that done?
I try not to do it. I try to assess the patient as a whole because the patient may want tear troughs, but they need a cheek augmentation. And usually sometimes when you do the cheek augmentation, the cheek lift, it gives them that glow and they don't longer need that tear trough, you know, just maybe like a little touch and that's it. So I try to see everything else, the face aspect. Just because if someone comes into the office and tells me I want to get tear troughs, I have to make sure, does this person really need tear troughs? Are they really a candidate? Because not everyone's a candidate for tear troughs. Maybe they'll benefit with something else other than tear troughs. Or, you know, like if it's someone that needs a little, you know, lift, I would suggest that instead of tear troughs.
Nice.
So, yeah, I try to stay away from the tear trough area, but yeah.
Yeah, when I speak to some injectors, like we can do other things to kind of make that appearance, improve that appearance instead of.
Right.
Nice. Is there, when patients come in and they might experience like body dysmorphia or things like that, how do you handle those type of situations?
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. How do I handle a situation by dysmorphia? So I definitely don't inject them. You know, I definitely, if they don't need fillers, I say no to them and I give them a talk. You know, I try to tell them that, you know, we're not perfect. We're all asymmetrical. You know, that's what God made us and made us sure that, you know, we're not perfect. So, you know, this is the way it is. But I try to talk to them, and I definitely don't feed onto the body dysmorphia. I'm not that kind of provider. If the person has too many fillers happening, I'm just not going to do it. No, because it's not for their benefit.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. And I know some people like fear like the backlash or like the negative reviews that clients may really leave if you don't give them what they want.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm a nurse practitioner. I did an oath, and I'm here for my patients, and I'm not. It's not the money. It's not just the money. It's just you got to do what's good for what's right for the patient.
Yeah.
And if the person has body dysmorphia, if you're giving them what they want, you're feeding into what they're going through.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Tell us a little bit about like how do you think mental health plays a big aspect in this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my patients that come to my office, they come because they have insecurities, they had a breakup, they want to feel good for themselves. You know, it's just, they're looking for the feeling good, you know, fixing their confidence level. So yeah, there's definitely some mental health aspect that you were talking about. Absolutely. Yeah, nice. For sure.
Nice. Now let's talk about the picture, the reel with the lips. Now everybody loves lips, especially in Miami. It's huge here.
Yeah.
These lips look really good. Tell us a little bit more about context behind these.
The lips, yeah. So lips is my favorite. I love doing lips. So I basically, I love using Versa and RHA3 on lips, and basically it's the way I do lips. It's like finesse. It's like, you know, you have to be delicate when you're injecting, and you know, you have to make sure it looks good on the patient. You know, like, you know, some patients have small lips, and you know that you can't go, you know, too much on that patient, or some patients want big lips. Like, is it really going to look good on that patient? So, I mean, the lips are very important for a profile. So, I really try to do it as natural as possible, but with a nice little pout.
Nice, and it looks good on this picture.
Thank you.
So tell us, is there anyone on social media that viewers can follow to learn more, to gain knowledge, maybe even to DM to get knowledge?
Oh my God, there's so many of them. There's so many of them. I mean, Dr. Lana from New York, she's amazing. She teaches all the time, and she has great videos. She's really good with DMs. Injector Bunny, she's huge and she's constantly teaching in her videos. Injector Honey, you have Lamar Weinberg, you have Josh Talks. You have so many big time, injectors who are constantly teaching. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Nice. Okay, I always ask, like, when providers are in different areas, how is the trends or how is the aesthetics industry in New York?
Aesthetics in New York is actually becoming pretty big.
Really?
They're big on Botox, but I think fillers is starting to be huge in New York. We're trying to, bring the men in. New York men, they're a little, they're like, I don't know, but we're trying to, but it's getting big in New York. It's starting to become really competitive, the aesthetic industry, and it's growing. It's growing for sure.
Would you say that most of the aesthetics, because like a lot of times I see aesthetic practices and I don't see as many med spas up there, but more like dermatology offices offering aesthetic services.
Right.
Is that how it's kind of set up there?
Yeah, so it's like a lot of dermatology office offering aesthetics. So currently right now, there's actually medical spas opening up in New York. Yeah, so it's starting to like be something, huge in New York right now. So it's like, it's happening.
Nice.
So yeah.
What is your favorite thing to kind of use now? Like your favorite go-to procedure or thing that you kind of like, product that's hot right now that you're like, this is what I'm using, this is what's good, or what I suggest to clients?
I love doing lips.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with lips. The second procedure I love to do is I love doing the mini 8-point facelift because I do like to see, the little lift that people get. That I use Voluma, Juvenile Voluma. It's the best when it comes to lifting.
Yeah.
For lips, I always use either Versa, RHA, 3. And then if it's an older patient, I probably will use Restylane. Mm-hmm.
I hear that now you can use your own RPF.
Yes.
You can use your own plasma.
Your own plasma.
Yeah, to inject. Is that something that's on the rise now too, or do you like using that or doing that?
Yeah, so that's definitely on the rise too because a lot of people want to do the holistic approach, the natural organic way, and that's for people like. I feel like the kind of people that I'm getting for PRP, for platelet-rich plasma, are people who just don't want to do Botox just yet, but they want to start doing preventative treatments. So they're being introduced right now with the PRP. But it's also like PRP is really good in combination with Botox and with fillers. Like I always tell my clients, you just don't do just Botox and that's that. You need to have a skincare regimen. You need to have other procedures going to help with your face.
What are some skincare tips, like skincare things you can buy that's accessible? Just maybe like one or two that you can buy that are accessible that you live by.
That I live by?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Is there retinol?
That I live by. So, you definitely have to have a toner.
Yeah.
Okay. You definitely have to have a toner. You need to have a serum that's going to be good for your defense serum with all the vitamins that you're supposed to have, a good moisturizer, and then you also should always have an SPF. Doesn't matter if it's cloudy outside, wear your SPF 24/7.
Yeah. If that's the one thing I see all the time is SPF, so that must be the most important.
Wear your SPF. I don't care if it's cloudy.
Definitely, especially being down here, it's always sunny.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking more about the aesthetic industry.
You're welcome.
Your spa and your passion.
Yes.
Tell everybody where they can find you, what you have planned next, a little bit about your spa.
Yeah, so my Instagram is injector_Ana, ANA. My medical spa is called Just Glam Aesthetics. It's based in Astoria, Queens. It's a very pretty place. Next door we have an esthetician, and we have a body contour girl that does body contour things, yeah. And then we also the studio is so huge that we also have a yoga center. So it's pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called Yoga Wellness. So you guys have to check it out.
For sure, for sure. Well, until next time, goodbye.
Bye.